Welcome to my show, Reflections. You over here with Tarika. Hit the like and subscribe button because you know how we do when I get over here with my roll up and pull up reflection. We are here talking about the Black Boule. For everyone who don't know about the Black Boule, don't worry. After this video, you should have a better understanding of what the Black Boule is. Now, a lot of people don't know about certain secret societies. Reflections. Well, I guess the Black Boule would kind of be classified as a secret society. Okay, remember, it's only magic if you can hide it in plain sight. So, with that being said, reflection, hit the like and subscribe button because it lets everyone know I have officially landed with my spaceship. And you know, when I land reflection, I'm shaking shit up. Okay, we talk about the Black Boule. So, with that being said, a lot of people have remember it's duality in everything. And I'm not over here to present the favorable opinion. I'm here to present every opinion. So a lot of people have a lot of positive things to say about the Black Boule, and a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about the Black Boule. After this video, hopefully you'll come up with your own interpretation of the Black Boule. Remember, I'm not over here to convince you of anything. I am here simply presenting the evidence. Okay, so with that being said, let's get started.
This is where your Al Sharpton, your Barack Obama, your Jesse Jackson, they've all come from this Boule society. All these big names through the hip-hop industry. They all are entangled in this satanic society. It was fashioned after the Skull and Bone Society of Yale. And all the prominent black men that have risen to power have essentially sold out their people. They pose as freedom fighters on the outside, and they're selling their people out on the inside. And it's been going on like this forever. It's the puppet show, and I'm here to expose it to the best of my ability. So when I talk about this Boule society, you're talking its creation of Sigma Pi Phi taking place in 1904. And since then, you've had all these great people come from this. Well, what they want you to believe are great people. So there's only 5,000 members roughly in 126 chapters. That's only 5,000 people on this planet. You know how small that is of a group? So you could see that these men of power have been handpicked out of this 5,000 man group here and put into their positions and paid off well to play their part. So what's the chances that anyone very close to Trayvon Martin would be connected to this powerful elite?
Ooh, reflection. Look at them already getting started. And we just got started with the video. So it was alleged reflection that Trayvon Martin's actually, his father was actually in this Black Boule group. Now, is that true? I don't know. Reflection, go do your own research and you come up with your own interpretation. Okay, so as we can see in this video, he didn't have the best things to say about this Black Boule group. Okay, reflection, let's keep it going.
Welcome to another episode of You Gonna Learn Today. On this episode, we're talking about Do You Have the Password? Black secret societies and clandestine organizations in the Negro community. Let's go. Because of Hollywood depictions and gross generalizations, society often associates secret societies with ancient and modern elite whites. Because of geopolitics, classism, government influence, and economic stratification, society also tends to believe that these secret societies fundamentally shape the world in one way or another. What is far more surprising is how little the black community knows about black secret societies. Very little scholarship exists on Negro secret societies. In 1910, Arthur Howard W. Odom included a short chapter called Fraternal Organizations and Benevolent Societies in his monograph entitled Social and Mental Traits of the Negro. Black secret societies usually fall into two categories, active and ceremonial. Most of the Negro secret societies in America have been ceremonial, i.e. lodges and fraternal orders. What we can interpret from the records is that blacks joined these secret societies for fellowship, mutual aid, protection, belonging, and clandestine planning. Evidence also suggests that at its height, black secret societies began to compete with the black church for prominence in Negro life. Up until modern times, Freemasonry and Elks Lodges were considered secret societies. As perspectives changed, there began a concerted effort to dislodge these organizations from the label of secret society and replace it with the moniker of a society with secrets. This is because the term secret society took on an elitist, corrupt, and governmental influential label that didn't sit well with the modern public. The first secret society which the Negro joined was the Odd Fellows. Its first Negro lodge, Philomathian, Lodge number 646, emerged in New York in 1843. On August 11, 1846, a black secret society was formed with the sole purpose of ending slavery. 12 black men from several different states came together to form an organization that would recruit members, arm them, and then execute an insurgency. Many members were already members of the Prince Hall Masonic Lodges and the AME Church. While meeting in St. Louis, they took the name the 12 Knights of Liberty. They were sworn to secrecy, and part of their oath was the phrase, "I can die, but I cannot reveal the name of any member until the slaves are free." As their numbers swelled to over 1,000 members, they looked to maintain strict secrecy and secretly changed their name to the Order of the 12. They also carried a second name of the Knights of Tabor. They even had a female auxiliary known as the Daughters of the Tabernacle. In 1847, an established secret society opened its ranks to blacks with the purpose of restoring the lost Negro to society. The Independent Order of Good Samaritans and its auxiliary group, the Daughters of Samaria, allowed Negro membership on the strict condition that white Samaritans could neither preside nor meet with black Samaritans. Black members were only allowed to vote on matters concerning black people. Eventually, white members left the secret society altogether, and by 1877, there came an end to racially mixed membership in national secret societies. At the time of the Civil War, there were at least 3 secret societies among Negroes: Prince Hall Masons, Odd Fellows, and the Knights of Tabor. In 1869, the Ancient Order of Workmen emerged as a ritualistic secret society. Other secret societies that emerged were the Knights and Daughters of I Will Rise and the Order of the Lone Star Race Pride, Friendship, Love and Help, Daughters of Bethlehem, Knights of Canaan, Grand United Order of the Children of Israel, Builders of the Walls of Jerusalem, Household of Ruth, and the African American Order of Owls. In 1881, the Grand United Order of True Reformers rose and had arguably the best success. In 23 years, the True Reformers had grown from 100 members to 70,000. The society had expended more than $2 million in reliefs and benefits, owned $400,000 worth of real estate, a savings bank, a newspaper.
Okay, reflection. It was a lot of background music going on in the back. So what do you think about that? What do you think about this Black Boule group, and not even just the Black Boule, different black secret societies reflections? They created their own group because allegedly the Skull and Bones, you had to be a certain race to actually join. So they said, fuck it. We finna create our own shit reflection. And these were highly educated individuals reflections, okay, who had a lot of influence within the society. Okay, so let's keep it going. And again, anyone who just came in, we're over here, we're talking about the Black Boule and secret societies.
Privileged, wealthy, well-connected black people exist in decent sized numbers.
We're invisible.
Why?
Because we don't match the stereotype. The stereotype for Black Americans is poverty, failure, victimization, and mediocrity.
These are great. Dr. Miles, a mother of 3, emphasizes success in her home with a family hall of fame. The hall is covered with photographs dating back to the 1850s.
That's my dad and his colleagues. These are all doctors. And that's Grandpa Henry. Basically made a fortune before the Civil War. This all had graduate degrees at the time when most people didn't have a college degree.
23 years ago, Dr. Miles created the Tuxedo Ball.
Actually, this tells.
It's so nice to see you again.
A place for privileged black children to mingle and make professional connections.
Juliana.
Shall we retire to the sunroom? Yes,
Yes.
that would be delightful.
The Miles family are pillars of the capital's historic black elite. Generations of achievement have given them a very different perspective.
Black people know how to do race talk because it's a necessity in all the parts of our culture. Now, at the upper end of the culture, you're not allowed to use race as an excuse, ever.
Who's policing that?
It's just how you're raised.
Do you think
there could possibly be a point where class trumps race.
It already does.
Because everybody else I've talked to would say it's always race, it's always
No.
race would trump
No.
it. But you would say
No.
that it's possible to get to a point
Absolutely.
where class...
We live that.
It may be expressed in terms of who people marry.
It is the culture that you grow up.
The way you were brought up, the way your aunt.
Okay, reflection. And again, the Black Boule, you heard her say, all of her forefathers, they were, I said her forefathers, her ancestors, reflections, they were doctors. Her grandfather, her father, they were doctors, reflection, because she don't have forefathers. They were doctors and different things like that, reflection. These were well-educated Black men, reflection. Okay, so with that being said, let's keep it going. Even though we know Black is a color, let's keep it going.
It's because half of these niggas was paid by the Boule, the Black Hidden Hand, the Dirty Moors, all these people that work within this.
Oh, they almost got me, reflection. I'm gonna have to get another video.
Somewhat elevated to a certain degree as a buffer group, and they get into these little confined circles among each other, and then it turns into this, well, we're better than the other Negro masses. We're the talented 10th. So it's up to us to lead these wayward Negroes. So they have that mentality, and they're so out of touch with the real Black masses, because the Black masses, we're not dumb. The brother out there on the street, the hustler, that's not a dumb dude. He might not have had certain opportunities, but that's not a dumb dude. That's not a dumb girl. They look at them as being less than, and that they've been assigned by white people to be their leaders. That breeds more contempt from the Black masses, where the Black masses can't trust them, and they shouldn't, because they're...
Okay, reflection. So what do you think about that? Remember, a lot of people have a lot of positive things to say about the Black Boule, and some people have negative things to say about it. As you can hear in that video, sound like he said that this particular group remember, these are well-educated people. So maybe some people feel like that because they are reflection, that they may look down on other people. But again, everybody, it depends on what side of the table that you're looking at on. Okay, other people, they feel like, okay, this Black Boule group, if they are for our people, then why do we still have people that are suffering in our community if they are for the community? Okay, reflection. Remember, everybody has an opinion. We're not here for the most favorable opinion. We're here to hear what the people has to say about this particular Black secret society, the Black Boule.
History books, and each of them draw attention to things where they got their ritual from. The Deltas draw attention to Freemasonry, said our ritual came from Mary Church Terrell, whose husband, Robert Terrell, was head of the Masonic Lodge in Washington, D.C. Mary Church Terrell, Mary Church, is the daughter of the first Black millionaire in America, Robert Church of Memphis, Tennessee. Huge mausoleum to him there. Those societies, those 4 male, those 4 female, and the Boule tend to make up a aristocracy. We talked in the park about the 10%, not in the sense of us in exclusivity, but them in the terms of deputizing 10% of the population to assure that the 90% never catch on. And it's very important to know that if you look to Alpha Phi Alpha website, there's alphas, kappas, Qs, and Phi Beta Sigma. There's Zeta Phi Beta, Delta Sigma Theta, AKA, and Delta, I'm missing somebody, Sigma Gamma Rho. If you look to, say, the Alpha website, they brag about being 95% of all Black lawyers. Now, if the Alphas are 95% of the Black lawyers, what does that leave the kappas, the Qs? Okay, now we're in the 90s. They claim to be 65% of the Black accountants, the lawyers, the doctors, dominating. And it may be that our professions are dominated by people in the Greek societies. At Howard, there was a student that I tried to help get a doctorate in engineering. Very exclusive about giving them out. If you get one, you're set for life. Morgan State, Howard are very exclusive. Took big money from governments to make engineers, but the brothers weren't coming out. And when we got deeply involved, we found how close-knit, how selective the professional process is. So he ended up at the patent office. He was a Kappa. He said, we have 15 blacks, 1 female, 14 brothers, and all 14 of us are Kappas. Only Kappa's going to get in here. And there are jobs all over where we think we're applying for something fair and open. But I would suggest that the ruling class recognized this was a very significant period, Didon, when they decided that they would give a college degree to a person of African ancestry in America who after Reconstruction should have been pretty pissed off. And so they were very weak about it to Africans in America. Only 2,000. So there was this thing they went through, a born man versus the made man. The born man, the king and the queens of Europe, had to deputize people to colonize the lands, the Columbuses and the Cecil Rhodeses who went to Africa. They weren't the aristocracy, but they fought to be gladiators and colonists and explorers. The Lewis and Clark, who were Masons. These men used the societies to advance the wishes of the ruling class, and they set up a system, a circle within a circle.
Okay, reflection. So what do you think about that? Hit the like and subscribe button. Remember, everything over here is alleged. Everything over here is for educational purposes. Only you over here with the crew. Now, what do you think about this particular group, the Black Boule group, hiring certain people? Okay, they get in certain positions, reflections, and they look out for other people that are in the same circle that they are in, reflection. So you think maybe that you're applying to a job fairly against someone else, but if they're in the Black Boule group allegedly, and that person that is doing the hiring process, maybe possibly they're saying that they will get in whether you're qualified for it or not. Okay, this is, remember, everything over here is alleged. This is just what I heard up the street around the corner of the block. Okay, and what do you think about that, reflection? What do you think about this particular wealthy group and them saying that these particular groups, reflection, they were climbing into power. They were climbing slowly into power, literally hidden, but climbing into power. So what do you think about that, reflection? What do you think? Hit the like and subscribe button and jump in the comments. What do you think about the Black Boule?
Privileged, wealthy, well-connected Black people exist.
Most of these supposedly civil rights people belong to. And when I give you this understanding, you will know why we never get anything accomplished. The Boule means advisor to the king. That means their job was to advise the king. Now the Black Boule was to advise the king, which was white supremacists. So their job was to advise the king about the black community. Because they formed the Boule because they did not want another Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey, that's why they slandered him so bad. Marcus Garvey was doing things as a black man nobody was ever doing, ain't done it since. And he understood the way to get up out of here is to stop sucking from the government's teat and to get on our feet and do for ourselves and then get up out of the land. Amen. Don't stay in the land of your enemy. Get out of the land and go to our own land. That's what he was talking about back to Africa, where, so what now, the reason why you have the mentality right now.
Now, reflection. Now, you know how Tarika feel about going back to Africa. What you going back for? What? I ain't never been. Where am I going somewhere I ain't never been for? To go back, you had to go there once. You had to go there once before. I am where I've been. Okay, I returned to where I originated. So with that being said, reflection, what do you remember? A lot of people, they have a lot of negative things about the Black Boule group. A lot of people, it's every side to every coin, and we here to listen at the positive, and we here to listen at what people think about the negative. So as you can hear, this pastor, you heard what allegedly, you heard what he had to say. He feels like the Black Boule group don't get anything done in the community. He feels like that they look out for strictly who's in their circle, reflection. That's what he's saying. He feels like that the reason that anything isn't getting done in the community, it isn't other factors, is because of the Black Boule. Now, that is what he is saying. I didn't even say it. He said, reflection. You were here when he said it. I didn't. Okay, I'm finna play another video.
To that Boule logo, you see there's an urn. There's an animal with the wing of the bird, the tail of a lion, and it's got an urn, and it's got its paw over the urn, and it says in the history book number 2 by Hobart Jarrett that in the urn are the names of the people who are chosen to lead the state, which suggests that part of the society function is not to make known who the people of power and authority are. The people of power and authority are. The people of power and authority are.
And that will be their sacred knowledge. Okay. Now, right here, I was pointing out to let you know that LeBron has a modified version of it, except for his is holding on to a shield, meaning that he's protecting the Boule people. Okay, but this is tattooed. This is real. You can look this up. This tattoo right on his chest. Just as an example.
So in essence, what you're saying is that the Boule represents the buffer class, the petit bourgeois, the comprador buffer class that manages workers, peasants, students, and middle class in many ways, and are paid well for that. And they receive their direct orders from the European capitalist class.
Yes. If you were to look to today, where Boule members like Vernon Jordan, who is managing director of Goldman Sachs,
Amazon AI,
who is managing director of Goldman Sachs, he took Bill Clinton to his first Bilderberger meeting in 1971. The black man took the white man from Arkansas to the big international meeting. Vernon Jordan, former head of the Urban League, who groomed Ron Brown, who then went on to become Secretary of Commerce, killed in a plane crash, murdered, because Boule are considered domestic. Martin King was Boule. Look at the relationship between Martin and Kwame over going against the war. You don't hear anybody in the African-centered community primarily against the war. They're basically accepting it or looking for what they...
And we know Kwame, a.k.a. who he's talking about, is Stokely Carmichael. Stokely Carmichael was a plant, and he was set to infiltrate the civil rights movement once they found out that Martin Luther King was becoming international. He was becoming too big, and he was actually changing his narrative and forcing people to go after the government for certain things that was conducted upon our people. That was unfair. And he knew that a lot of the land acts were actually supposed to be for our benefit, but it wasn't. They switched it around and gave it to, or handed it to incoming foreigners. He flipped the script, and they came after him.
Try to get when whites are passing out things like, a grant here, this or that. They don't
But
appear.
he was Alpha Phi Alpha though. Okay, but yeah, his last 3 years of his living, he flipped it.
To be focused on that money that's being wasted, those billions of dollars.
You see, African community support the war?
They are not. No. I'm just saying they are not pushing against the war.
Yeah.
Same way Martin King.
I understand what you're saying.
When April 4th of 67,
you're right.
1 year before he was killed to the day, when he came out of Riverside Church with Kwame in a shirt and tie in the front row, waiting to hear, because he called and said, "You got to hear this." He comes out against the war. Boule men are told to be domestic, not international. Mickey Leland was Sigma Pi Phi. He tried to stop a starvation going on in Ethiopia, Somalia. His plane crashes into the mountain. Congressman from Texas, he dies. Ron Brown, Martin King, no question. Martin King became international, and that became his biggest sin. He was financed by some of the greatest foundations America ever had to offer. But if they get beyond the defined limit, then there's trouble.
In terms of young people today who are on college campuses who want to join fraternities and sororities, what is your advice?
It's interesting, the movie Stomp the Yard. I thought that was an interesting attempt to try to reconstruct the...
and sororities. What is your advice?
It's interesting, the movie Stomp the Yard. I thought that was an interesting attempt to try to reconstruct the options, because they are catching hell in the streets. There is a rise of Kemetic-centered, African-centered societies that are repudiations of Greeks. And this is on the rise on many of the campuses around.
And see, that's the problem, especially, during his time period, he didn't know. He didn't know. I'm not going to hold that against him, but during that time period, that was the motive, to create these Afrocentric or Afro-centered curriculums within the schools. But at first, they were being taught to the foreigners, so the foreigners will be able to repeat it. Then they passed it down to our people. Okay, that should let you know that something was up. Why would strangers be telling our stories? Our real stories, if they were actually real, because they weren't, to foreigners first. And why do we have to, fight in order for that to become a curriculum that we get taught inside of these schools? That's alarming, isn't it? It's not the fact that they were trying to keep it secret from us. It was the fact that they were trying to create it, cultivate it, butter that thing up, making sure that it's, going to stick in their brains. What's the best way to teach somebody that they're a particular person that they're not? How can we, craft this lie and leave loopholes to allow those students to use their imagination to fill in the gaps? It's unfortunate, but that's
okay. Reflection. So what do you think about that? Remember, everything over here is alleged. Everything is what we heard around the street, up the corner, around the block. I'm just telling you what they said over there on Mars. Reflection. I'm just letting you know what they said on the other side of Mars, right beside Jupiter and Venus. Okay. Now, with that being said, Reflection, what do you think about him saying that these particular groups, Reflection, that Martin Luther King, not only was he a part of the Black Boule, allegedly, that if you get bigger than what you were assigned to be, then you can get shut down, Reflection. Basically, you can get taken out. Okay, Reflection. If you get out of line, or you decide to be bigger or go against the agenda, because remember, he also said, Reflection, that Martin Luther King had started going against what he was originally talking about. He was telling the people, no, this ain't right with what they're presenting to you, and they like, hold the fuck on, already took our check, allegedly. What is you out there doing, King? We finna end the morning. It ain't gonna be nothing but King in the end if you don't let us know. You need to go get your ass back out there and renege. Okay, you need to get back out there and let them know that you didn't really mean what the fuck you was saying. Reflection, let me know. I think that's something like what they was saying, Reflection. I think that's what he meant. So what do you think about that, Reflection? Do you think there is any truth? Do you think that Martin Luther King Jr. was a part of the Black Boule, Reflection? Do you think he was? Him and his mustache, do you think that was all a part of the Black Boule? Do you think he got a little too big? Do you think that he started going against the agenda and they said, hold on, do we need to bring change around here? Because you're trying to bring the wrong change. You signed your paper. You signed this paper, and you said that this is what you was going to do. Allegedly, I wasn't even there, Reflection. And you got out there. We had you. You get what I'm saying? Local. Now you finna go international. Now you trying to lead the flock, and we never told you that was never your position. You were supposed to lead them to the river, not the water, not the ocean over there, just the river, baby. They're not even supposed to know it's an ocean over there. Allegedly, Reflection. Hit the like and subscribe button. You over here with Tariq. I'm just talking my shit. We're talking about the Black Boule, okay? Is this well, we know it's a real thing, but a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say. But just as many people have a lot of negative things, a lot of people have a lot of positive things to say about the Black Boule. It's where, Reflection, this is something, again, I'm not here to convince you if they're positive or if they're negative. Go and do your own research.
Who are the gatekeepers and what do they do? The definition of a gatekeeper is an attendant at a gate who is employed to control who goes through. And a second definition is a person or thing that controls access to something. The Boule is said to be the gatekeepers of the Black community. The Boule is made up of members of Sigma Pi Phi fraternity. It is the first Greek letter society for African American men, and it was founded in 1904. As a point of reference, Booker T. Washington had founded the National Negro Business League in 1900 to promote the interests of African American businesses. And the main purpose of his organization was to promote commercial and financial development of Black businessmen and women. It is important to note that Booker T. Washington's organization was open to women. It was established in 1900, so we have to know that there was a lot of discrimination against women at that time, but he did include women because he understood that in order for the African American people to advance, it was going to take both men and women. The Boule was only open to men. college-educated men. The Boule only accepts membership from men who are already successful in business. They don't have chapters on college campuses. However, they have a congenial relationship with black fraternities. As in, they are very welcoming to members of Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Alpha Phi Alpha, Phi Beta Sigma, and Iota Phi Theta. So these two business networks, the National Negro Business League and the Boule, were established to help African Americans network in business, commerce, education, politics, whatever the case would be, because the established white associations were not available to them. They were not open to them. The distinction should be made that the National Negro Business League was open to any African Americans that were active in business, pursuing business ventures, whereas the Boule offered membership to professional people, college graduates. Booker T. Washington and Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois were sort of adversaries at this time. And Booker T. Washington, of course, belonged to the Negro Business League, and Dr. Du Bois was an early member of the Boule. Also, Booker T. Washington was very supportive of Black Wall Street in Tulsa. So that has to be noted. To know what the Boule does is to know who the members are. And this is a small list of men that belong or did belong to the Boule. Dr. W.E.B. Du Bois, author, professor, and activist. Dr. Martin Luther King, civil rights leader. Ralph Bunche, ambassador to the United Nations. Andrew Young, mayor of Atlanta, ambassador to the United Nations and civil rights leader. Douglas Wilder, governor of Virginia. Thurgood Marshall, Supreme Court Justice. Eric Holder, Attorney General of the United States under President Obama. John Lewis, a congressman from Georgia. And Kenneth Chenault, who was the CEO of American Express. These are African American leaders. They come from all walks of life, from politics, government, education, and business. They are called the gatekeepers of the African American community. I will read their mission statement, and then I can discuss what I know that some of these organizations do that these men belong to in addition to the Boule. Their statement says that they are modeling leadership, education, and civic responsibility by supporting these endeavors and by mentoring the young men who will advance the African American community in all facets of equality, mutual respect, and devotion to democratic traditions.
Auntie said, let me get up here and clean this shit up and tell them how this supposed to go, baby. I heard what y'all said. Now I heard your opinions to the left and to the right, but Auntie said, let me close this outright with a black bootleg. Hit the like and subscribe, but we over here talking about secret societies. They behind my spaceship, so you know where I gotta go. Reflection. It's time to head back to Mars.